and this is a worker placement game that takes place on the celestial body known as Ceres, which is orbiting the sun between Mars and Jupiter. And in this game, players are going to be playing as different mining corporations, trying to harvest the resources from Ceres as well as the surrounding asteroid belts. And at the start of each year, players are going to be generating their income based on the buildings that they're able to build so far on their personal player boards, but then also the surrounding asteroid belts are going to shift. And the way that this works is really interesting because there is a section of the board that has rotating disks, and this section of the board is going to represent the different asteroid belts that are rotating throughout the year. And of course, as they rotate, some of these asteroids are going to be closer to the players and cost less resources in order to launch to, while the others might get a little bit more distant. But each player is going to have 5 workers that they're going to be able to issue out on the different areas of the board in order to perform the associated actions. And each action can be done just a limited amount of time, so you're going to want to be strategic with the order that you choose so that you make sure that you're getting the actions that you really want to perform. And the actions can have all sorts of effects, like allowing you to gain influence at the different councils, which if you hit a certain threshold will grant you a temporary special ability, or you can trade with trade ships to convert your resources into other resources. You could build labs, factories, and mines to process and generate resources, or instead you could choose to advance your science down a particular path, which will allow you to gain additional bonuses anytime you perform one of the other actions in the future, depending on which tracks that you choose to advance. And a really important and interesting part of the game is that you can also use your actions to hire contractors, and you're going to have to hire contractors in order to activate some of your buildings or to launch some of your ships into the asteroid belts. And these contractors introduce another really interesting aspect of this game, because even though every player has their 5 workers that they're going to be issuing out on the board in order to perform the different actions, these contractors are going to kind of act like a secondary type of worker, but they are coming from a shared pool that all players have access to. And each of these contractors is color-coded, which means that you can only activate buildings that match that same color. And since there's a limited amount of these contractors in the pool, you might want to race to hire them first so that you get the contractors that you're looking for. And like I said, you'll be able to place that worker onto one of the buildings that matches its color, and that can do different things like gain you VP or resources, as well as gain additional influence in the different councils. And they can also be used to launch ships into the asteroid belt, which is another really important way if you want to gain more resources and victory points. But this is a more difficult path, but the rewards are substantial. And the player with the most victory points at the end of the 3 rounds wins the game. And of course, if this one sounds interesting to you, I have links in the description below.